Have you heard the stories of Florida homeowners who are dropping their insurance because they couldn't afford the premiums? Or maybe you've heard the stories of homeowners who are paying $10,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000 just to insure their properties. And these aren't mansions that we're talking about. Insurance is expensive in Florida, or at least it can be. In fact, two nearly identical homes in the same neighborhood can have insurance premiums that are thousands of dollars apart. Why is that? And maybe more importantly, how do you not land the more expensive home? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. In the Midwest, insurance is usually just another monthly bill. In Florida, insurance can make or break the purchase of a home. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some homes cost thousands of dollars more a year to insure, and you'll also understand what insurance companies love and what they don't love. And once you understand how insurance companies think about homes here and how they come up with the premiums, you'll be able to understand which homes cost more to insure and which homes will probably cost you less. So why is Florida insurance different? Well, when I would help buyers with homes in the Midwest, insurance was something we rarely ever looked at. During the contract, at some point, buyers would get insurance quotes, maybe from 2 or 3 companies, and they'd maybe be $30 apart or maybe even a couple hundred, but it wasn't something that would make or break the deal. Florida is different. Carriers in Florida have to manage risks that Midwest states don't even have to think about. Things like hurricanes and wind speed, flood risks and storm surge, the age of the roof, and the construction materials the home is made out of. On top of that, the insurance industry in Florida has gone through some real turbulence over the last several years. And this has resulted in many carriers leaving the state or becoming insolvent, which made homeowners have to go to the carrier of last resort, which was Citizens Property Insurance. All of this made premiums go higher. The good news is insurance rates have stabilized across much of the market as new carriers come in, and some owners are even seeing their rates begin to come down. None of this means that every house is expensive to insure, but what it does mean is every house is individually analyzed like it's having its own miniature risk assessment. And based on that assessment, premiums at the end of the day are going to land all over the place. So what makes insurance go up? Well, let's take the biggest factors one at a time. And let's begin with the biggest one, roofs. Insurance companies love newer roofs. In fact, this will probably be the biggest factor in determining whether the premium is going to be considered high or low for the house you're looking at. Roofs that were installed within the last decade were installed to a much higher standard than those that were put on 15 to 20 years ago. The newer ones are considered much less risky to the insurance company than the older ones, and this is reflected in your premium payment. Even if it's an older roof that looks fine to you, don't be surprised if the insurance company sends somebody over to inspect the roof. And if it falls between the 15 to 20 year mark, it's not uncommon for insurance companies to offer you what's called actual cash value coverage as opposed to full replacement cost coverage. And many people in the Midwest are unfamiliar with that. Here in Florida, it's not every carrier that does that, but many do. Actual cash value coverage depreciates the age of the roof and gives you a portion of what it's actually worth at the time you experience an insurable loss. So if a hailstorm comes and destroys your roof, people with actual cash value coverage will only get a portion of the cost of the roof to replace it. So the remaining amount will come from their own pocket. This is something that's different for many people from the Midwest, so you want to understand that as you're looking at insurance policies while you think about buying a home here in Southeast Florida. The next thing that impacts whether your insurance premium is high or low is the hurricane resistance. Things like impact-rated windows, reinforced garage doors, hurricane shutters, and straps that attach roofs to walls that we call hurricane straps. These features don't just protect your home during a hurricane, they can also drive down your insurance premiums. Homes that lack these things will have much higher insurance premiums. Which brings us to the third thing, the way your home was constructed. Homes that I call stick-built, which are wood-framed homes, tend to be more expensive to insure than concrete block homes. That's because a concrete block home will stand up much better to a hurricane than a wood-framed home. So wood-framed homes will have higher insurance premiums than most concrete block homes. And the final thing most people think about is distance from the coast. Most people think the distance to the host is going to dramatically change the cost of their insurance. That is not necessarily true. What is true is the flood zone your home is in, and once again, the wind resistance, because on the coast, you're going to experience more wind. So homes that have impact rated windows, newer roofs, reinforced garage doors, the roof straps, those homes are going to have lower insurance premiums than homes that are on the coast that lack those things. Insurance companies care much more about wind resistance and flood zones than they do proximity to the coast. So just a tip as we're talking about things that cause your insurance premiums to go up, get an insurance quote during your inspection period while you're under contract on the house. Don't wait until later in the contract. You want to know if there's going to be issues that can be mitigated while you still have the time in the contract to potentially take care of those issues. Now, let's briefly talk about flood insurance because this is a topic that often confuses people. Your homeowner's insurance will not cover flood damage from rising water, storm surge, or floodwaters caused by heavy rain. So if the water is coming from the outside in, generally your homeowner's insurance does not cover it. And this often confuses people coming in from the Midwest because flood insurance is not a common thing in most states in the Midwest. Flood insurance is a completely separate policy, often issued through the National Flood Insurance Program or other private companies. And the good news is not every home needs it. Whether or not a home needs it will depend on its FEMA flood zone, if your mortgage company requires it, or if, as you do your own personal risk assessment, you decide you just want the peace of mind of having flood insurance. Because the truth is, no matter where the home is at in Florida, most homes can experience floods. So obtaining flood insurance can offer you peace of mind. This is a topic that's new for almost every Midwest buyer. It's called the 4-point inspection. When you get insurance on homes in the Midwest, you don't typically do this, but here in South Florida, because the risks are higher for insurance carriers, they do a 4-point inspection. They look at the roof, they look at the plumbing, the electrical, and the HVAC system. And the 4-point inspection is just a simple way for insurance companies to assess the condition of a home. So instead of doing a full inspection, they just look at those 4 areas to come up with your premium. Now this is not required for every home, but if the home is 25 to 30 years or older, most of those homes will have a 4-point inspection. It's important to do this early on in your contract, and most buyers do this along with their inspection, so that if a deficiency comes up that's going to affect your insurance, you can get those addressed with the sellers before you close. And this will keep you from closing on a home that's going to have a super high insurance premium. Now there is good news here. As you enter into the market, there are certain key things to look at that can help you understand which homes are most likely to have the lower insurance premiums. And if you have an existing home here, these are things that can help you lower your existing home insurance premiums. Number 1, buy a home that has a newer roof or budget to have a new roof put on once you close. Number 2, look for impact rated windows, doors, and shutters, or ask your insurance carrier how much of a discount you'll get if you install those after closing. Number 3, consider newer construction if it fits your budget. Homes built to current building codes often insure for a much lower premium. Number 4, shop multiple insurance carriers and make sure you're working with a local insurance agent. These agents will know the newer companies coming in who may be offering lower insurance premiums. Number 5, know your FEMA flood zone and maybe look at homes that are not in areas that have high risk for floods. And number 6, ask your insurance carrier about credits that come from wind mitigation and 4-point inspections, and credits that come when you bundle your home and auto together. Understanding these things can help you navigate the market here. As you're looking, you'll understand which homes are likely to have much higher premiums. Hopefully you found this information helpful and not discouraging. Thousands of families move to Florida each year, and with good information, they navigate the home buying process here very effectively. If you are someone who's thinking about moving from the Midwest to Southeast Florida, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. This is a video in a series of videos I'm making on various financial topics spoken about from specifically a Midwest perspective. In future videos, we'll talk about things like taxes, HOAs, everyday expenses, and whether or not it's best to rent or buy when you move here. If you have questions about real estate or you want help running your monthly numbers, my contact information is in the description below. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. If you found this video helpful, check out this other video I made talking about the expenses of owning a home in Southeast Florida.